Diamond, we own him. Let's play this right.
Tommy, I can't play it any kind of way if I don't know what the is going on. Like, as soon as we agree upon a plan, you go up and you do something crazier. It's almost like, you got to stay one step ahead of me, calling the shots.
Now, one of the Power spin-offs that we haven't spoken about too much in detail over the Power off-season is Power Book 4 Force. Last week we went through a specific storyline in regards to Tommy and Maria, where I genuinely think there could be a potential storyline involving Maria being pregnant. I do think that would really make things a bit more complex, change the dynamics of Tommy's moves in terms of his relationships, street operation, mentality, and also what he wants in the future. Especially when you take into consideration what Tariq said at the end of Go Season 4. He understood that he had to sacrifice not having a family for the sake of the world that he's in. However, aside from Maria being pregnant, there is still so much more to the storyline when it comes to Tommy Egan, and that's the topic of discussion in today's breakdown. We're going to be looking at a host of storylines, running through a few predictions, a theory or two, and just a general look at where we are, mainly for Tommy Egan, heading into the final chapter of all things Power Book 4 Force Season 3. Now, I briefly mentioned at the beginning how Maria may have a major role to play in what happens with Tommy Egan's future, but putting the baby storyline and prediction to one side, the other plot involving her character is her being kidnapped by her brother, Miguel Garcia. And just knowing what kind of character Tommy is, just how madly he falls in love when he does fall in love, you can guarantee one thing: Tommy's going to be going crazy at the beginning of Season 3. I don't think he'll completely lose his head, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to make decisions with his heart rather than his mind. They say sometimes love can make you blind, and based on history, Tommy does have a tendency to kind of let things slip, involve his women in his business, and so on. Even with Lakeisha, 2-Bit mentioned Tommy bringing in his girl was a very bad idea.
The fuck she doing here? Tommy ought to fucking know better. Anytime a bitch get involved, she always goes sideways.
I know, but damn.
So, based on history, I do think we all know where Tommy's head will be. He'll want to find Maria, and that means he's going to take probably one eye off the drug business, and that's not going to go down well with his partner. On one hand, you're going to have Tommy saying we need to make a move, we need to find Maria. On the other hand, I think we're going to have Diamond telling Tommy that's not the move. They just made peace with the Mexicans. They've just taken the Serbian territory. Their focus should be on the business. Let's remember, Diamond warned him from day one, don't mix business with pleasure, especially with Maria. They also don't have the best of relationships at this moment in time, because Tommy's been making a lot of moves behind Diamond's back, and you did get the feeling that there was kind of a small rift brewing towards the end of Force Season 2. You have to think, what has Tommy done behind Diamond's back? He's made a few moves without consulting his partner. He got with Maria, but there was also Vic Flynn. Now, Vic in Season 2 turned into Stacey Marks' informant. That was after his sister Claudia tried to take him out with Walter Flynn and also Uncle Paulie. Now, of course, it was only going to be a matter of time before he got rumbled, and then it was just a matter of, will Tommy do what needs to be done? I mean, this is Tommy Egan we're speaking about, and if we spoke about the history before in terms of his love interests, from history, we all know what he does with snitches. However, this is where he didn't do what he normally does. Instead of killing Vic, he thought it was best to keep him around as an inside mole, use him to play law enforcement because, effectively, they've got Vic right where they want him. On the flip side, Diamond wants to get rid of the snitch, and I'll really be interested to know where you guys kind of stand on this one, because I don't think either were wrong. I can definitely see Tommy's point of view, and I can also see Diamond's. So, what they do with Vic Flynn, that definitely will be at the center of the story right at the beginning of Season 3, and also with Maria. Vic will also play a big role in what happens going forward in regards to Tommy and Diamond's relationship. Now, Tommy's relationships go way deeper than Maria, Diamond, Miguel Garcia, Vic Flynn, and whoever else. We all know where there's Tommy, there will always be love and also family. So, keeping JP, D-Mac, and K. Egan safe would be a top priority, as it was in Season 2. We also how he tried his best to keep JP and D-Mac clean and away from the streets. He even sent D-Mac all the way to Great Shores Youth Academy. But the problem with a young teenager like D-Mac is, he is young, he's rebellious, he doesn't exactly follow orders, but most importantly, he grew up in the streets. The streets of Chicago is all he's ever known, and that's going to be a big problem for Tommy in Season 3. Trying to control someone like D-Mac is not going to be an easy task. In my opinion, I think it's pretty much impossible, unless you bring him into the operation. I think at some point Tommy will have no choice. I think he's going to realize the one way to keep him close, keep an eye on him, and protect him, as crazy as it sounds, is to keep him close by. in the operation and teach him the game, so to speak. Because I do think D-Max said it himself, either he does it with Tommy or he'll find himself in the game under someone else. And look, Tommy's already seen what's happened with one nephew in Tariq St. Patrick. He'll try as hard as he can to protect D-Mac, but we all know the road that he's eventually going to go down, with or without Tommy. Now, in terms of JP and Kay Egan, I do actually have JP on my death predictions for Season 3. I think if D-Mac is to find himself deeper in the streets, and under the guidance and mentorship of Tommy, I think JP has to go. With no JP, Tommy's the only one D-Mac can kind of look up to, and it also kind of forces D-Mac's character to learn, cope with the death of loved ones, and also grow as a person. So, I do think JP's death could be an important part in D-Mac's development, as well as igniting a fire in Tommy, of course. So, when I do create my death predictions breakdown at some point in the future, JP will definitely be on the list. Now, in terms of Tommy's relationship with Kay Egan, something which I really loved in terms of the writers did in Season 2 was giving us more backstory to Tommy's character. They really went deeper in terms of why his relationship is the way it is with his mother, and I hope that definitely continues into Season 3. Kay is also known to keep a lot of secrets based on history, and I do wonder if there is anything kind of further she's hiding from Tommy in terms of Miriam Egan, his backstory, what happened with JP, and so on. One of the themes of Power throughout any season is, any Power spin-off, is secrets and backstories, and if there is any kind of anything mysterious, if there is any kind of big revelations, whatever that may be, I wouldn't be surprised if Kay was at the center of the storm, because you can guarantee Tommy definitely will be. Now, moving over to Tommy's conflict with Shanti and Jannard, these are two characters who have been really steadily kind of plotting against Tommy and Diamond, with Shanti kind of spearheading the attack. She's been very calm, manipulative, patient, and very calculated with her approach. She's been waiting for Diamond and Tommy to really fatten up the organization by allowing them to do all the hard graft before they come in and swoop in and take the CBI. They sat on the picture of Tommy and Maria and only gave it to Miguel anonymously when the time was right. She also told Tommy about the move her and Claudia made with the Serbs to gain his trust, but also later helped him get rid of Claudia. Although on Claudia, I'm going to come back around to her in just a moment. But in regards to Shanti, so far, we have to admit, she's done a pretty good damn job. Putting bias to one side, I know we're all team Tommy Egan, but Shanti has played this really well. Now, does Tommy really trust Shanti? I don't think he ever kind of trusts anyone. He's been in the game far too long to know there are no friends in the streets. This is someone who grew up under Kanan and Breeze. This is someone who worked alongside Ghost for a very long time. He ran the biggest drug network in New York, and he was betrayed many a times. However, we have to go back around to Tommy making moves with his heart and not his head. Could Shanti and Jannard find an opening when Tommy's distracted? That is something I can definitely see happening. We just spoke about how Shanti is very calm and patient with her approach. She's a snake who pounces with her venom at the right moment, and I do think she will make things very difficult for Tommy at some point in the season. It may not be straight away, but one thing we can guarantee, Jannard and Shanti will be plotting their chess moves very carefully. Can Tommy kind of get ahead before they strike? It's definitely going to be very difficult. Tommy's going to have a lot to deal with. At that point, maybe Shanti and Jannard have managed to sway Diamond into going against Tommy. Law enforcement will always be in the picture with Stacey Marks trying to hunt down Tommy Egan. The feud with Miguel Garcia will continue to get bigger and bigger as the season progresses. And so this kind of brings me on to this particular phone call.
Alright, so tell them to bring the smoke. We'll come lay him the fuck out. Simple. You come on, we family for life. Give me the details and I'll be there. I'm on my way.
Now, this is one storyline that I do expect them to touch on at some point. Not anytime in the first half, or even in episode 6, 7, or 8. I do think either in episode 9 or 10, we will see Tariq St. Patrick, in my opinion. The most popular theory amongst the Power fan base, and also my opinion, is that it was Tommy Egan on the other end of this phone. Although I guess one question that keeps getting asked over and over again is why would someone of Tommy's caliber call his nephew, who is nowhere near his level, in the streets? I think we have to kind of think about the situation that Tommy's going to find himself in at some point in the season, and also what he went through in Power. We're going to find a common trend. Whoever he's in business with, whoever he creates an alliance with, there will always be tension, friction, enemies looking to take what Tommy has, and also people stabbing him in his back. There will always be people manipulating situations in the background, turning the screw, making subtle sly maneuvers to try and either bring him down and at the same time take his empire. For example, Dre, Claudia Flynn, the Serbs, Miguel Garcia, and also Shanti and Jannard. Heading into 4 Season 3, Tommy's going to have a lot of enemies. He's already in conflict with Diamond. Janada's never really liked Tommy and he finds himself plotting behind his back with Shanti. There's the war with Miguel Garcia, especially because of Morea. Who knows, the Serbs could also be released from prison, and he could also have an issue with the Serbs again with Merkovic or a new leader. Once King Kilo's released from prison, will he go after DMAC? So, King Kilo could also be a problem, and we don't even know if Claudia Flynn is actually even dead. Again, looking at previous patterns in the Power universe, would anybody be surprised if she actually survived? She could even end up becoming an informant and an undercover threat. So, coming back around to the question, why would Tommy call Tariq? The answer is pretty simple. I can see a scenario where it really is everybody against Tommy, where he finds himself up against one of his biggest ever battles, and the fact is, Tommy doesn't have too many people that he can trust or call apart from Tariq or Tasha. Sure, he does have JP and DMAC in Chicago, but like I said before, he won't want to put them in danger, whereas he probably knows Tariq has made his choice and he also probably knows that Tariq has found himself at the top of the food chain in New York. So, if it is a situation where Tommy is against everyone, Tariq is probably the only person he can call. I also think it probably serves the purpose of the storyline going beyond for Season 3. We all know this part of Tommy's journey is definitely coming to an end. We know this chapter is being closed, but there is still one more, which I do think will be with Tariq. And dare I say, the next chapter could be Tommy Egan's last, the last dance. It's a topic which I've touched on very briefly before in a couple of my breakdowns, and if we do have time before we get to Raising Kanan, I will drop a theory and predictions video in terms of when I think it will be the end for Tommy Egan, but at this moment in time, I do think we have to focus on the here and now. I do think it will probably most likely involve Tariq at some point, which then kind of sets up the next chapter Beyond Force. So, that's a breakdown of where we are with Tommy Egan's chessboard, and now the floor is yours. Let me know your early thoughts and predictions heading into the final chapter of Force, and also what you think could be coming beyond. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.